Who do you seek grievances against?
The High Priestess and the wise women of the Moratoi.
John turned his gaze away from the Moon Guardian, looking at the High Priestess with an inscrutable gaze. From the furious glare she was giving him, it was clear she wanted nothing more than to see him dead.
And what are your grievances?
The High Priestess has grown corrupt, and the wise women of the Moratoi have grown blind and dull in both mind and spirit. Their hearts are twisted to seek their own advantage. Until my destruction, they shall answer for their crimes.
Who do you point out to start your road of destruction?
It doesn't matter. Come one or all, I will decorate this stone with their blood.
Turning around, he gestured for Ellie to leave the platform and then crossed his arms as he stared at the High Priestess. Next to her, the Moon Guardian saw her hesitation and mistook it for something else entirely. With a bow to her, he vanished from the platform they were on and appeared on the stage.
You are incredibly powerful, but it is not as if we have no one who is powerful as well.
That's debatable.
John shrugged, causing a fierce look to flare up in the Moon Guardian's eyes.
Let me prove it to you.
The masked man took a step forward and drew the blade that hung on his hip. Holding up his hand, John turned his head and stared at the platform where the High Priestess stood.
Before we start, understand something. I'm done playing around. Anyone who comes at me from this point forward will be treated as an enemy.
Enough!
Dashing forward, he cut down with his sword, only to jump away just as fast as a flaming arrow cut through the air where he'd been a second earlier. A dozen silver moon shields manifested around him. 6 of them turned horizontally and began to spin while the others drifted in front of him, blocking the second flame arrow that darted toward him. Dodging a spinning moon, John dashed forward, his feet leaving scorch marks on the platform as he closed the distance toward the Moon Guardian. Feeling his sword bite into a magical shield, John's eyes narrowed and he exerted a bit more pressure, causing it to shatter into pieces. The Moon Guardian jumped back again, completely stunned that one of his shields had been broken so easily. Just as he was about to launch another attack with the flying moons that had circled around, the Moon Guardian heard more shields crack apart and a horrified feeling sprouted in his heart. Like an unstoppable avalanche rolling down a mountain, John's momentum never paused. His sword continued to advance until it broke through the last shield, stabbing deep into the Moon Guardian's shoulder. As the Moon Guardian tried to process what was happening, he felt fingers close around his throat and he was lifted from the ground. The 6 flying moons suddenly exploded as the mana around him was severed, destroying his connection with his spell. Choking under the tight constriction on his throat, he was barely able to register the pain as blood gushed from his shoulder. Just before he lost consciousness, a warm voice spoke, blanketing the area in a strangely comfortable feeling that washed over everyone who heard it.
Let us end it here.